Welcome to The Radicals. I'm Miriam Joshua. Joining me today is Anand Paul, co-founder of Red Sea Films. Thank you, Anand. Thank you for joining us. I've heard so many of your songs and really enjoyed it. It will be really nice if you could share your creative journey with us today.
Yes, I'm really glad to be here, Miriam. First of all, thank you for having me. And my creative journey, if I have to go back to the start, I think when I was about 4 years old, music was one of the first things which really, shaped me to who I am today. So, learning from my father, who was playing in the church for so many years, right now it will be about 40 years, he plays keyboard at church. When I was about 4 years old, I just started watching him. He taught me, learning from him. And I think that being in that kind of an environment, observing from your environment was one of the key things I would say that shaped my creative journey. And so I was living in a place where, my family was, extended family also was really into music and especially church music. So that kind of like really started off things for me. And as years kept going on, like music became a lot like, second nature and really self-taught everything. Really never got an opportunity to go to a music school or learn music theory, but just learning, playing by ear, and picking up from watching other people play. So I think that kind of shaped my initial years.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. But it's amazing how every generation has, I think we just stand on the shoulders of the previous generation, and it's just beautiful what the legacy that they passed on. Great. So, what's the story behind Red Sea Films and why the name? What's the story and what's the vision of, Red Sea Films?
Yeah. So, when I started traveling with my band Sounds of the Nations in the year 2005, there was, such an incredible experience getting to meet different kinds of people, playing in different venues. Suddenly, we are playing for 100 people, and suddenly we're playing for 100,000 people.
Wow.
So it just was a crazy experience. And through all that, learning about music, creative arts, and how graphic design, video production, all that comes into play, I understood the power of creative media. How it can really shape culture and reach people at the same time and make an impact. So in 2014, I got an opportunity to go overseas with my wife to help a ministry start their media department from scratch. So while doing that, there was so many learning experiences, and it was amazing because you can make those mistakes and learn from them, right?
Yeah.
And thankful for that opportunity. And when we were living in Florida, to be precise, we were going to the Disney World all the time and seeing all these amazing performers there. And we had a thought of, what their life would be like, beyond that 30 minutes of performance. So we actually wanted to capture, their stories. The idea came about like that. And then we used to go to these, supermarkets and work from there, free Wi-Fi and free food samples. So we would, go there, my wife and I. So we used to work from there. And then suddenly I got this thought of, we used to do, some part-time freelance projects, building a website, making a small commercial video here and there. But I thought we could do more than that. Telling stories of people was like one of those passions of mine. What goes behind, of this 30 minutes of performance, or what's your story? That's very powerful for me. So as I was working in this supermarket, this idea popped into my head that we should call this division something else. And suddenly I got this flash of like a vision per se of the Red Sea moment,
Wow.
where Moses stretches his staff and the waters part, And then I thought, like, what an incredible moment if that was captured on film. Like, it's like very wild. My imagination went so wild. Maybe probably living in Orlando, that
With all the Disney World and everything
can
around,
happen to
yeah.
you. So I thought, what if that moment was captured? That would be so epic. So if you create something, it has to be,
That
really
epic.
epic. And then that I just called it. I designed a logo, which is nothing but a simple pause icon, where I thought, it was like that pause moment where people were like stunned to see what happened in front of them. So even those two lines on the pause are like, the walls of water, and in between is the way to go. So
Wow.
there's no real design in that. It's just I stole the pause icon for it. Then I put that text. I showed it to my wife, and she thought I was actually working on something. And then we checked. There was actually a domain name called redseafilms.com, and then we quickly bought it right then and there.
Nice.
And that's it. Shut down my laptop. Nothing happened for the next 1 year. So that was actually the beginning of Red Sea Films.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how God sows these seeds.
Yeah.
But in his time, I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So how long has this journey with Red Sea Films
Yeah,
been?
this is an exciting time, exciting year, because this is 5 years of Red Sea Films formally, launching as a media company.
Nice.
So in 2018 September, this time, we registered it as a partnership firm, and it's been 5 years now. So it's been amazing.
Fantastic. So what were the struggles or challenges that you faced? I mean, because you work with your wife, so as a couple and as an entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, what were the struggles that you faced?
Initially, when your passion becomes a profession, it just, it changes so many things. Where you have to really, you're your own boss. You have to meet your own expectations, and then you're like procrastinating, saying, nobody will fire me.
Question you.
Yeah. So that has been one of those, I'm
Biggest
sure, yeah,
challenges, I
every
guess.
creative person has that, that lazy side to themselves,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's one of those challenges where we are trying to really, to really be professional with our passion. So that has been a challenge. And working together as a couple, I would say, definitely it's not easy, but it's not impossible, because you have to really make it work. It's not, nothing is easy, right?
Yeah.
If everything was easy, everyone would be going to the moon. So, as much as it's challenging, it's fulfilling, it's satisfying,
For sure.
and we do have our own strengths and weaknesses. But I think bringing your best to the table, I think that's what matters. My wife, she's an MBA. She's super organized. She knows how to plan better. So she brings her strengths. I bring my creative side to the table. Yes, we do argue, we do fight, but we know that it comes from a place that we have a vision. We want to do something good together. So, in that way, it has been amazing, amazing journey.
What do you, as a creative leader who's actually walked the path for so many years, what do you see God doing in this time and season with creative people?
Yeah, I would say, Miriam, there has never been a time like this before. If you just see the last 3 to 4 years, the amount of stuff that has happened, we always say this as Red Sea Films. What we do is not just for India; it's from India.
Come on, I like that. Yeah.
We believe that there were great times in the past where like our nation was blessed by amazing missionaries, amazing resources, but we are now becoming a blessing. So I think what's happening is that creative shift which has taken place. I would say, people call it creative revival too, which
Yeah.
is going on.
Yeah.
So that has been an incredible experience. Like nothing, I keep telling everyone that nothing like this is happening anywhere else in the world. You see the number of creative projects, creative conferences, the music videos, podcasts, who
Yeah.
thought of this a few years ago? But that's all happening right now, and it's amazing. Media is such a powerful tool,
Yeah.
and I mean, God is using it, to reach His people, uh, from His people, through His people, and yeah, to God be the glory.
Yeah, I think there's a time where there's a season where we received. I think it's now time for us to give back
Yeah.
to the world. And like, one of the, I think a great man of God specifically released a word over India that this season, God's eyes are on Indians, and Indians are going to be in the forefront, especially people in the marketplace, people in business and in the creative space. And like you said, I think there's something that God's doing with creative people in this time and season like never before, and it's amazing just to see the kind of content that's being released, especially in the church circle. But one of the things that's really heavy on our heart as the creative revolution and the radicals is to challenge people not just to be satisfied in being in the church, but to actually step out and be salt and light as creatives in the world. Especially during the Renaissance, you see how the kind of impact that creativity had, the songs, and we were in the forefront as Christians, whether it was art or music, anything to do with creativity, we were right there, and the world learned from us. And now we are 10 steps behind and trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Right? So I really encourage, what is your advice to young people and to parents,
Yeah.
especially young people who are in that place of making a decision about their career as a creative?
Yeah. Like touching on also what you said, like, we have to be the salt and light in the earth. I was sharing with a friend some time back. Like, sometimes we get so busy running in circles, reaching the reached.
Yeah.
While that is good,
Feeding the
yes,
ones who are already well fed.
yes. While that is great, and we don't want to stop that,
Yeah.
I think we have to really, try to look for opportunities on how we can be a voice outside of the four walls of church. And media is such a great tool, a creative arts, amazing place for us to really be in that space to, impact, our society, the culture, the nation, and the world, obviously. So for young people, I would say many young people, even when I was young too, like, we are great dreamers,
Yeah.
but we stop there. We imagine a lot, but we don't take that initial step because most of us are afraid of failure, and just feeling like what people would say or what people would think, that kind of matters a lot to many people, including myself when I was starting off. And definitely, this Insta generation where everyone wants to see instant results, and and to become successful quickly
Overnight.
yeah. And everyone is a star in their own reel. So, but I would really encourage people to not just be consumers, but be creators.
Yeah.
So if I'm scrolling through reels, but when am I going to create my own reel? I'm just consuming, but I'm not creating anything. So I think taking that first step to, don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
It's okay to try, give it a shot. I think that would be the first step again. And if you don't see the results, keep going at it. If you're really passionate about what you want to do, things will happen. God will really honor, your effort, and at the right time, He will release that blessing. And if He does not, that means it's not yet, not the time yet
Yeah.
for you to come out. And it's amazing how God works through people to reach His own people. So I think the younger generation, I would definitely advise to have that passion, have a desire, have that desire to do something, especially if it's about creative arts. It's a very wild space, there's sky is the limit.
Yeah.
You can do anything in that space. If you want to be a dancer, go ahead. If you want to be a painter, no matter what, like, arts, nothing influences the culture and the society as much as the arts, right?
Yeah.
And I could I could write a book and I could release a movie or I could produce a song. There's so many things which people can do and podcasts. I mean, there's endless possibilities.
Yeah, thank you. If there was one thing that you would like to change in your whole journey, what would that be and why?
Yeah, I would give a very cliched answer. I'd like to change myself.
Oh
I would
my.
in fact say, instead of change, I would replace change with refine.
Okay.
One thing I constantly stop is learning. What happens is when we stop learning, then, we just become really stagnant. So I would say, like, I would like to refine myself, renew my mind every now and then. I think that's also change, right? Change is good.
Yeah.
So I think I had to change the way I think, be open for change. Sometimes like many people don't like change. I hate change. I want to sleep on this side of the bed forever till I die. So those kind of things. But that's just a mind thing, and health and wellness is one thing. So I think accepting change. I would like to change that, if that.
Yeah, awesome. Recently, I read this post about how it's important to be present in the moment, to be present where we are. Sometimes we're so busy chasing the next,
Yeah.
but I believe God is here in the now, and He's doing something in the now. And I think as creative people, just positioning ourselves where God is, inviting us, and that is in the forefront, but also being present and asking God, God, what is it that you want me to do now and here? Even if it's a season of waiting, what can I do now and here? And I think that's just so important, especially like you said, in a culture, in an Insta culture, when you want to be an overnight success. God is interested in our now.
Yeah.
And He's preparing us for the big call and the big in the big breakthroughs or in the big season, but it all begins in being focused in the now.
Yeah, I would also like feel like sometimes like we miss out on so much by not being present. And quoting one of my favorite preachers, he once said, sometimes God sometimes wraps destiny into something what we call just a day, or just a meeting, or just a shoot.
Yeah.
You never know what can come out of it. Like when David was feeding, taking care of the sheep, and when his dad comes and says, go and Zomato to your brothers. He could have even said, I always said, like, I'm already anointed to be a king. Why should I do this job? He would have never killed Goliath if he never went on that day.
Yeah.
I mean, it changed his life forever, like the whole history forever, right? So one of those moments, I think we should be ready to, not be afraid to, do the small things, be faithful with the opportunities, steward them well.
Yeah.
I think those are like some of those important, aspects, especially being in the creative field, creative arts. There's no lying in this. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be rich. Including all of us. I mean, even the people may say very humble, I don't want anything from, but deep down, everyone chases that. Like, that's just a human nature for us to, we want to be seen, known, heard. But as much as we want to be that, I think are we open to, the things which are beneath, to do those, small things which He gives us.
Yeah, very true. Like the word says, do not despise the small beginnings.
Absolutely.
And being faithful where you are, maybe it could be just serving in your church, being a volunteer in your church, or being helpful, by serving, in the society, whatever it is, as a creative person. I think it's those small steps that prepares you for the big things that God has for us. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, what has been your biggest battle?
Yeah, I think battle, when I heard that word, like, it's such an amazing concept, the battle. My biggest battle is to let go of the battles which are not worth the fight. Sometimes we get too busy in fighting for things, which bring nothing to us, than just fulfill our ego. So it's just again coming back to our human side of it. Like we are not like divine or angels, but sometimes if you want to become more like God, we. I mean, something happened. Like even today, this morning with my wife, I was somewhere. I was just frustrated about something. Then she told me, you know, it's not we don't fight for victory.
Yeah.
We fight from victory.
Amen.
And that just changed my perspective on, what battles to fight and what not fight. So I'm constantly in that place where I'm learning to let go of some things.
What is the one biblical understanding that completely transformed your life?
I think it would be one of those incidents where, God stopped time for, 12
Joshua.
hours, Joshua's. I would just go back to this very interesting incident in the Bible where God stopped time. When Joshua asked God to stop time. I think that perspective about, having that audacious faith to ask God to do something which is impossible.
Yeah.
And, Joshua had that audacity to ask God to stop time. God created time and he asked him to stop it. And God did it.
Yeah.
So, what I learned from that is to, don't limit, God and put him in a box because, sometimes we dream, our human sized dreams, where God is like asking you to dream, God sized
dreams,
right?
yeah.
And as believers, also, we are taught to be,
Content.
still should be content, humble. Nothing against all that. I
Yeah.
mean, we should be.
Yeah.
But instead of asking why, I would say like, why not? Like, ask God for more.
Yeah.
And for His glory. Yes, obviously, there's earthly benefits which humanly people want, but ultimately it's for Him and through Him, in Him, for Him, through Him, right? So for Him to get the glory through our lives, if we are limiting Him and stopping Him to do what He wants to do through us, we just like we lost the whole purpose right there. For me, I learned to dream big, and dream the impossible. And even if you reach a little below that, it's still okay.
There's nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose, and He will do it. When the time is right, and He's looking for people who are ready to take that leap, to
Yeah.
step out in faith. When we actually started Red Sea, we had no clue what we were doing. For the first 2 years, we were just releasing, videos in the air, and we had no idea that it would create this kind of impact where, I mean, literally, like an industry took shape in all that, like producing and releasing Christian music in India has a pattern now,
Yeah.
and a lot of other things came into it where, when you talk about marketing, where you talk about content strategy, talk about graphic design, video production, and, cinematography, makeup, hair and makeup, people started thinking about what to wear, costumes, colors, so many things came, like, everyone knows now, when you release a video, what are these 10 steps you have to do, and then so many, the other creative elements like, the creative conferences which are taking place, and all those things which took place in the last few years. It's just amazing to be part, like a tiny part of this whole big movement.
Yeah.
So it's just again to step out when you don't see something in front of you, knowing that He will make a way. I think God is looking for people who will, take that step.
Yeah, people of crazy faith.
Yeah. Yes.
So, what would you like to close today's conversation with? Is there a special message or a recommendation or a word that you would like to release?
I would definitely would like to. If it inspires anybody, even one person, I would say to take that first step. I think everything changes from there because sometimes like people have songs written and in their voice notes for years. you know
Yeah.
I mean most of us have, but people may have ideas to start a podcast. Why not? Instead of asking why, I would encourage people to say why not.
Why not? Yeah.
Because if God has given you a dream, or if you're passionate about something, I think there's never going to be a right time, because things will never fall in place. I think it's just for us to just get up and get on, I would
Yeah.
say, because we're always waiting for the right time, the right moment. When the time is right, people, I'm waiting on the Lord. Yeah, God is like, come on, pick up your mat.
Mat
get
and
up
walk. Enough of sitting.
Yeah, I say I'm here. Whom are you praying for?
Yeah.
So I think I think that
There was a joke that recently somebody cracked saying, "Here I am, send him."
yes. So I think that's one thing. I think we are like I am guilty of that too. Like endless scrolling. I think we have to stop scrolling and start seeing around what's there, and take that and have a you know set your bar high. Where even it's hard for even you to reach it. For us, we always feel like how can we do better than our previous video, not in terms of the views or now that's the pressure, like every video should hit 1 million views, otherwise it's but it doesn't matter. Are we putting that effort to really pursue having that uh, character of pursuing excellence, and outbeating ourselves every time and trying something new, trying something different, and it may work or may not work, but consistency, that's one of those important things we are learning, to be consistent with our calling and with our gift, because if we don't steward it well, he will just take it away from us, or somebody else will do it. God does not need us, or He does not need. The rocks will cry out if we don't sing. So it's on us, and we need to really take that step.
What was the highest number of views that you have hit, and how did you manage to do that? What is the secret behind that?
The highest viewed song on our YouTube channel is the song called "Haath Uta Kar Gaunga." I think it's I'm not sure, 13 or 12 or 13 million views. I don't know how we managed to do that, but like I said, when we were actually doing these projects, we never thought of these numbers. Like million was like very far from. When we released the first video, I thought I was secretly asking God, if this video gets 500,000 views in 1 year, I will be over the moon. That's like my life is
It's sorted.
Like I'm a millionaire. but these are some of these crazy things. Like God did this like in exactly 6 months. To be precise, even the day. We released on November 22nd. On May 22nd, that video hit, our first video, Vandanam, hit 1 million views. So in half the time, it reached double the, expectation I had. So the most viewed video absolutely had no expectations on it. And in fact, it was not, it just picked up recently. It was our second most viewed video. But it just overtook Sang Tere, and it's by a couple of million ahead of it. So I think the strategy, I would say, we told ourselves is to just do our best and do it better than the last time. That's it. I think, and then after that, people watched it, loved it. Obviously, music and the video, they're just coming together. And one thing I would say which we were very intentional of doing was to, as a musician, I was really offended when I saw some videos where you're hearing something and you're seeing something else. So you're hearing a guitar part, but the person is not playing it. And it just bothered me a lot. Then I thought, we have to really, it's not like glorifying the musician, but at least like give that person the due, credit, like, capture that craft, and I think those are the things which we were very intentional of showing. Like there's a small, like, like a guitar sound, like with the string brush, and we wanted to capture that, and so, like these snare brushes, things like that. Like I think people, when we thought, when we were doing it, like, will people even, appreciate it, or will it even matter? But we were surprised, like, people took notice. They're watching it, they're enjoying it, the number of messages we got, and I think that kind of really, I feel like that was one of those, from our side, we put our effort to, capture those details, those elements of, that musicianship, where we are showing what is heard, as simple as it can get.
Thank you, Anand. I think I'd like to challenge each one of you with what Anand shared today, and dare to have the crazy faith, step out, get up and get on. Yeah, that's Anand's words for you. Get up and get on. So thank you for joining us. Make sure that you like, share, and leave a comment and let us know how this conversation was a blessing to you. Thank you.